gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. You look good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday in the Quad Cities. Happy Hump Day. It is Wednesday, April 9th. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate that. The countdown to 1,000 subscribers is real. We are 38 subscribers away from 1,000. So if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't subscribed, shame on you. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you have subscribed, make sure you tell a friend or two or 10 or as many people as you can about what we're doing each and every day here in the Quad Cities. Off the Air, coming your way at 10 a.m., talking a bunch of sports and a whole lot more. We're also live on X. We appreciate everyone that watches on X each and every day. And also, as I mentioned, every day as well, we are up on all of your podcasting platforms as well. Whether it be Apple Podcasts or Spotify or iHeart or Podbean or you name it, we should be there. If you get your podcast somewhere and you can't find Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, let me know. I'll make sure we get on that one as well. So thank you to all the people who download the podcast and listen later in the day, probably while working out or doing something, constructive during the day. Unlike myself, who just sits in my loft and talks about sports for a couple hours every single day. Hey, I'm super excited about today's show. In a matter of moments, we'll be chatting with Josh Sash. Josh is a new assistant at the University of Iowa, and also that last name is very familiar. He is the older brother to former Iowa safety, Iowa standout, Tyler Sash. So we'll talk to Josh about the Iowa basketball program, about the new guys coming from Drake, not just Ben McCollum, but a rundown maybe of the new players from Drake that are coming to Iowa, what they bring to the table. And of course, we'll talk about his little brother Tyler and the legacy that he has left at the University of Iowa as well. So a lot of good stuff to get to. Josh Sash coming up in just a matter of moments. It's also Steamwheeler Wednesday here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Coming up later in hour and one, Joe Krall, big old offensive lineman Joe Krall, will be here in studio to chat about the 3-0 undefeated Quad City Steamwheelers. I don't want to make too big a deal of this, but since we've partnered up, since Off the Air and the Quad City Steamwheelers have become one and become a thing, especially with Wheeler Wednesdays, the Wheelers are 3-0. Yes, they got talented players. Coach Ross doing an awesome job. I'll take an assist. I think it's the OTA mojo helping them out as well. So, and also in hour number 2, we will be joined by a good buddy of mine, Bobby Metcalf, former sports writer here in the Quad Cities. We'll chat about the Masters. It's less than 24 hours away. Really excited about that. So we'll give our predictions, who's winning, who's going to be your round one leader, the best finish for a John Deere Classic former champion that's in the Masters, maybe a long shot as well. So make sure you tune in for that. If you missed any of this week's shows, on Monday, Jess Settles, Joey Van Wetzinga, and Pat Anger. So if you're an Iowa fan, that was probably your show. We had a little bit of everything on Monday. On Tuesday, it was kind of Sports Writer Tuesday. We had Craig DeVries talking about the Masters and the John Deere Classic. We had Mark Nessler because he won our OTA bracket challenge. And then we also had the owner of the Quad Cities River Bandits, Dave Heller, nice enough to come out to the house, come out to the studio and join us talking about Quad City River Bandits baseball. Of course, bad news last night. They lost for the first time all season 4-0. Good news is they're back at it again today. They're 3-1 on the season. A lot of talent on the roster. They're back at it this evening, I should say. Wisconsin and the Bandits tonight at 6:30. So going down to the ballpark. They're there for the next 5 more days, tonight and 4 more. So throughout the weekend's supposed to be beautiful. So go check out the Bandits if you're not going to the Wheelers game, maybe on Saturday night. And if you're not going to the Wheelers game, shame on you. Get out there and and support probably one of the best teams in the entire league. Major League Baseball yesterday, the Cubs, our Cubs, in first place. They're 9-5 after a victory last night. Also, the Cardinals winning as well, 5-3. They're now 5-6 on the season, and the White Sox they're the White Sox. They get shut out last night, 1-0. They are now 2-8 on the young season. So there's your baseball wrap up. The beauty part about a Wednesday is there's baseball on during the day. I think the Cardinals even started at like 11:30. So you can watch a little baseball this afternoon to get you through your Wednesday here in the Quad Cities. But we start today with a familiar name back in Iowa City. And joining me now, a new member of the Iowa men's basketball family, assistant coach Josh Sash joins me right now. And Josh, with a very familiar last name, you were born a Hawkeye. We were kind of talking before you got on TV. So to be back in Iowa City, to be part of this program again, what's this last 2 weeks been like for you?
Yeah, I think I definitely was born in black and gold. Grew up with some parents that were Hawkeye fans, and so that was kind of all I knew growing up. It's been really surreal, to be honest with you, to have this type of an opportunity here at the University of Iowa. I've been coaching for 22 years. This last year at Drake was my 22nd season, and so I thought that at some point, I hoped that I would have a chance to maybe get it to the highest level, but to have the opportunity to do that here at the University of Iowa has been, really, really surreal for me.
Do you feel like you're kind of floating, or is it surreal to, you wanted to get to this level and you're not just at this level, but you're in that city with those colors and that logo? Has it been a little surreal and kind of hard keeping your feet on the ground a little bit, a little pinch me moment every now and then?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But in the current landscape of college basketball that we work in, there hasn't even really been any time from us finishing our season at Drake and then, coach taking this job a couple days after that. And then, in the meanwhile, putting together staff and having, those conversations with him and then trying to figure out, when can you get here and how you hit the ground running in the portal recruiting landscape that we're in right now. And, how do you retain guys that you have here and just all those different things. It's a lot. It's overwhelming. Some days we're working long days early in the morning till late at night. But, we went through this last year at Drake, and we know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Just put your head down every day and keep moving forward.
Before we talk about that new era and that new coach and all that kind of stuff, your knowledge of Iowa has to help. Obviously, and it's same with Coach McCollum as well. They grew up, they know it. You grew up. We just realized we're probably around the same age. You probably grew up rooting for the same knuckleheads that I rooted for growing up. That has to help just your familiarity with what Iowa basketball is, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think most definitely. When I watched Coach's press conference, and he started rattling off all those names, those were names that, I knew and just brought back my childhood memories. So, yeah, I think, for him and for me, guys that are from Iowa that grew up, wanting to wear black and gold, this is a, really awesome opportunity for us. And we know what the program looks like. We know a lot of the people around the state that, I think we need to be able to connect with and continue to recruit the state of Iowa really well.
Josh Sash joining us right now, new assistant basketball coach at the University of Iowa. You talk about wearing the black and gold. You had a little brother that got to wear the black and gold. Being back in that community obviously probably brings back a lot of memories as well. How cool is it for you to have the Sash name back in black and gold and doing good things for Iowa athletics and the Hawkeyes?
Yeah, I had not been back here for a football game since Tyler played here. So it's been a handful of years since I've been back. And this fall, I actually brought my three boys over for a game just to be able to connect. My oldest, I believe was 2 No, he was 4. Sorry, he was 4 when Tyler passed away, and my second was just born. So he was like 2 months old. And so, they hear about Uncle Tyler and they know about Uncle Tyler, and they've YouTubed Uncle Tyler and seen, some of the plays that he made. But for them to have the opportunity to come and, watch a football game in Kinnick, I believe it was a night game. It was a really cool experience for them, and they loved it and were really excited about it. So I guess for my family and I to be able to come back here, it's been great so far. Definitely I think people here, just with the familiarity with Tyler, there's a lot of people here that have been here since Tyler was here. And so people stopping by, introducing themselves and saying, hey, I really enjoyed your brother, enjoyed covering your brother, those different sorts of things has been really cool and made me feel really at home here.
Josh, it's funny because it's not, he played a little while ago. It makes me feel old because it wasn't yesterday, but to see the impact he still has on this community and program is pretty awesome, because it wasn't like he played there 2 years ago. It's been a while, but his impact has left a legacy in Iowa City, and you've probably seen that firsthand.
Yeah, I've seen that and felt that, I guess, for a long time, even after he passed. It was really awesome to hear people, tell stories about him and just the impact that he had on different people and the lasting impression he made on different people. I think there's a lot of people still to this day that, that I don't even know, when they connect, me with him, they say, oh, he was my favorite player. And so I enjoy hearing those things and keeping his memory alive, that way. But I think just who he was as a person, how he interacted with people, how he treated people, not just his ability on the football field, but then him being from Iowa and just kind of a tough, hard-nosed, hard-playing guy that kind of left it all out there. I think just connected probably with a lot of Iowans. And I think that's something that, makes him special to a lot of people.
Segueing back to basketball, he was a pretty good basketball player as well. We know that. You played some basketball. Were there battles between the Sash brothers on the basketball court, and was little brother better than big brother when it comes to basketball?
He was significantly better than me at any sport that we played. He was kind of the dude that he could go out there as a very young kid and pick up a ball, and he was just very natural at everything he did. I felt like I worked pretty hard at it, but I was a decent football player, a good high school football player. I had some Division II and Division III football recruitment. I didn't have any, basketball recruitment. But him and I were both really, really competitive. I'll tell this story, I guess. Growing up, my dad was a PE teacher, so him and I, Tyler and I would always go over to the gym and we'd shoot or we'd play, and sometimes it would always be Christmas Eve. It kind of became a tradition that he and I would play one-on-one over there. And I always let him know that he never beat me. But, I got to a point where I knew that I wasn't going to be able to win anymore. So we kind of let that tradition die a little bit.
Hey, you're still undefeated. You got to keep those while you can. That's a beautiful thing. I want to talk about the current Iowa Hawkeyes in a second, but talking with Jess Settles on Monday, he mentioned, he goes, I can't wait to hear his interview because he's grinded, and the path to getting to where you're at, like you look at the resume and it's, you've had to grind. You've had to put the work in to get now where you're at. Does that make where you're at now a little more gratifying because nothing was handed to you, Josh? I mean, you earned everything you've gotten on this road.
Yeah, I think it probably starts out, just how I was raised, and, how the approach that my parents took with me. Nothing was ever given to me, really. Nothing was ever came easy. It was just you work hard for, what you're going to get. And, it has been a long, winding journey for me. I kind of started my coaching career as a student assistant for, my high school coach, one of my high school coaches, John Henry, over at William Penn. And back then it was, work camps in the summer, and I just started working camps in the summer at at Drake, at Iowa, at UNI, and just trying to make as many connections as I could to see, hey, what's the next step going to be for me in the coaching business. And that kind of opened up for me to get a GA job at Drake, and then obviously with Keno Davis, and that went really well, and was able to follow him to Providence, and then had been into some, I guess, administrative roles more as a GA, doing kind of video work and stuff like that. And I wanted to coach and I wanted to recruit. And I had a conversation with Keno, and he said, I think you can get that probably going into the junior college route, where you're having an opportunity to recruit and having an opportunity to coach and really get your feet wet in those things. And so spent a year at Temple Junior College in Texas. I had 5 years at State Fair Community College in Sedalia, Missouri, and that's kind of where I felt like I really started to figure some things out from a recruiting standpoint. Was able to recruit some pretty good players, but then on the flip side of that, when we had good players, there was a lot of Division I coaches in, and I just really started to make a lot of connections in the coaching world, and it seemed to start opening some different doors for me. So a good friend of mine got the Indian Hills job. I came to Indian Hills as 2 years there as an assistant coach, and then I got my first Division I assistant coaching job at UMKC with Kareem Richardson there. And so got into Division I, and then went through hard. I think like to your point, when you're in the coaching business, I think you go through the time where you get fired. And I worked for Kareem for 2 years. He new AD at UMKC. He got let go, and so the staff was let go, and had to try to find a new job, and kind of went through that whole process. It was tough, but I landed where I was supposed to be. I became the head coach at DMAC, and we had a really good year there. And then at the end of the year, we had COVID, and so we didn't get to play in the national tournament. So again, it was kind of hard, but then had an opportunity to spend 3 years up at North Dakota State, up in Fargo, and then came back to Indian Hills as the head coach. And being at Indian Hills, 30 minutes up the road from Oskaloosa, where I'm from, where my parents still live, I thought, I'll probably be here a few years. And then, last spring, probably about this time, Coach McCollum called me about the opportunity at Drake, and just, doing a little bit of research on that. Everybody told me, hey, yeah, that's a no-brainer. You have to do that. And it was, kind of surreal that, it turned into this opportunity here, and it opened that door here.
Josh, when you look at it too, tell us about Ben McCollum, because you get that phone call, and I'm sure you knew him, but we're all Iowa fans. Everybody's trying to get to know Ben a little bit. Kind of give us a behind the scenes look at how that guy works, because you hear all these things, you see all these great things. And I don't think there's a facade up. I think what you see is what you get with Coach McCollum. Just your thoughts on the new Iowa head basketball coach and what Iowa fans are getting.
Yeah, he's a great guy. First of all, he's a great person, and he tries to do things the right way. He tries to operate the right way. He is elitely smart. One of the smartest people I've ever been around, not just from a basketball standpoint, but just very, very intelligent. From a basketball standpoint, I don't think you'll find a better X's and O's guy. But the thing, people talk about his offense, and I think he gets calls from, coaches, NBA guys, college, Division I coaches all the time, picking his brain about offense. He's a really, really good defensive coach, and I think that's probably where he hangs his hat is the defensive end of the floor. But then probably what doesn't get talked about enough is just how he builds culture. And I think he's a culture builder. He gets the right people in place around him from a staff standpoint, and then from a player standpoint. He pours into them, and he figures out how to get the best out of them, and then put the group together to help the group be at its best. And I think he does a really good job identifying that. He's slow and deliberate at times in his process of staff personnel type decisions, recruiting player type decisions, but I think he gets it right more often than he doesn't.
This offseason, you guys, your staff, is having to put together a roster in this new crazy world we live in. And you did it last year at Drake to high success. Does last year's experience help you with what you guys have ahead of you now in rebuilding a roster and getting ready for the future at the University of Iowa?
Yeah, I think it most definitely helps us. I do think, it's also different though. It's a different level. And I also think like the transfer portal and the NIL piece, there's a lot of change on a day-to-day basis with that stuff. I think, the numbers that we're hearing from a money standpoint on different guys right now is just like crazy. And it's way different than last year. And maybe I think part of that is from, us being at a different level last year, but also part of it is just the change in the year. And now there's a lot more agents involved with these kids. Everybody seems to have an agent. So just navigating that whole process is something that I think, we're figuring out pretty quickly. But I think last year's experience helped us. Now, this year, I think we have, kind of the staff. A lot of the staff is going to kind of come from Drake. So we all have a pretty good feel, for each other. And then, the process that we need to work together on to keep moving this thing forward. The other thing that is different that coach tells us every day, he says, remember last year when we were doing that? He's like, but look, in my office, I have windows now. And at Drake, we didn't have windows. So we would be in there and it was like we were in a bunker. Some days we didn't know if it was like, is it lunchtime? Did it rain today? Is it sunny out? Like, what's the weather like? Because we'd just been in there all day and maybe ordered pizza about 3:00 and, grab some lunch that way. But it's been good. It's a challenge, but we're ready to embrace the challenge.
One big building block has been players from Drake that have made the move to Iowa City. I kind of wanted to pick your brain on some of them so that fans here at Iowa can kind of get a sneak peek into what they expect. The first one's pretty easy because everybody knows who Bennett Sturts is. But you've watched his maturation process, if you will, coming from D2 and not being the best D2 player in the world to one of the best players and the best player in the MAC last year. Tell us a little bit about Bennett Sturts from what you've seen and his maturation process under Coach McCollum and your staff.
Yeah, I think with Bennett, what you see is kind of what you get. He's a quiet, humble guy that he goes about his business every day. He's continues to work every day like he's, an under-recruited guy and has that chip on his shoulder to continue to get better. I think he's also elitely competitive and he'll rip your heart out. People might not see that just from a normal conversation with him, but he's a big time competitor, and it took, last summer, I think I started to see some things from him here and there. I, of course, wasn't with him at Northwest Missouri, so I didn't know a lot about his game prior, but you could start to see some things with him that you're like, okay, he's going to be pretty good for us. And then, we scrimmaged Texas Tech last year in October and I thought he's the best player on the floor. And then at that point, it was like, okay, like he's going to be really good for us, if we continue to put him in the right situations. And then, throughout the course of the year, for him to, I think, do what he did with the amount of minutes that he played and the number of times, we didn't have a lot of playmakers around him or, a lot of shooting around him. So we had to be creative with how we utilized him at times. For him to just kind of put us on his back and make play after play after play, game after game, like it just as consistently as he did, he just, he really solidified himself as one of the top players in the country.
Josh, you're my age, so you remember Tavian Banks running the football. I know you do at the University of Iowa, a Bettendorf kid here. So when I hear Tavian Banks, that's the first thing I think of. A lot of Iowa fans think of Tavian Banks. Can you tell us a little bit about the other Tavian Banks, the basketball player making the move from Drake to Iowa City?
It's funny. He told me his story the other day that when he got to Drake, like everybody kept asking him if Tavian Banks was his dad. So he got a chuckle out of that. But no, so T came to us last year as a transfer from Northwest Florida Junior College. I had seen him as a freshman and thought he was a pretty good player. I was at North Dakota State at the time, and I was at the national tournament down in Hutchinson, Kansas, and watched him and really was impressed with him. And then as the head coach at Indian Hills the following year, his sophomore year, we went down to Northwest Florida and played a game. And he won the game. He reminds me of that quite often. They beat us, and I think he had like 18 points and 10 rebounds. So he played well. So he tells me all the time he's 1-0 against me. But anyway, no, I thought, Tavion added a different dimension to our team, especially the second half of the year. He started to really become pretty consistent for us. I think he averaged like 10 and 5 for us. And there were some games kind of late in the year that, if you watch, you just see him and his competitiveness, his strength, his ability to just offensive rebound the ball, his ability to guard different positions. I mean, he can guard guards and he can guard big guys. Like he can guard 1 through 5. So he is a really, really good player. I think he's only scratched the surface of how good he can be. And I think he'll be somebody that the Hawk fans will really love just for how hard he plays.
Next one, you need to tell me how to pronounce Cam's name and then a little bit about his game.
Yeah, Cam Manyao. So Cam's awesome. He's got a great personality. He came to us from Wyoming. He was there with Bryson Williams, one of the other new assistants that coach has brought on staff. So, Cam's a great kid. I don't think Cam completely realizes how good he can be. And he's only scratching the surface of how good he can be, but he's pretty skilled. He's a really, really good rebounder. He's extending his offensive game to maybe be able to shoot the ball a little bit more from the perimeter. But I think, he's a great fit for us and, plays with a motor, big time rebounder. I think he's a guy that, fans are going to like.
Two more, and we'll do them together. Isaiah Howard and Cale Combs. What are those two players? What can Iowa fans expect from them? What are we getting?
Yeah, so, Howie was a freshman for us this year. He just kind of plays with his hair on fire. He's a ball getter. He can score it. He can make shots from three. He scored over 3,000 points in his high school career. So he had some games the second half of the year, early on in the year, just as a freshman. He had a hard time, getting on the floor and staying on the floor. And then he had, I think it was a Murray State game in January there. He had a breakout game for us and was a big contributor for us, kind of down the stretch. Opening game, I think, of the Missouri Valley Conference tournament against Southern Illinois. He hit a couple big threes in the first half and probably played, his best game of the year. So I think the future's really bright for him. Cale Combs, another guy that kind of had up and down, early on, and then, consistency really grew the second half of the year. He's a big guard. He can really, really pass. He can play in ball screens. He can get in the paint. He's got a floater. He can do some things that, it's hard to get guards that have his size that can do some of the things that he can do. So I think, Cale's got a chance to have a really good year for us as well.
Iowa assistant coach Josh Sash joining us right now. A couple more for you before I let you go, because you got recruiting to do. You got a roster to build. But yeah, one thing you do keep is Cooper Koch, and he's a legacy name with Dad playing at Iowa. Here in the Quad Cities, being down in Peoria area, I got to see him several times, and I know how good he is. And a couple times, not even Coach has mentioned, but you've mentioned in the interview, shooting and wanting people to have that ability to shoot. When I see Cooper and know what I saw him in high school, and Iowa fans didn't get to see a lot of because he only played 6 games this year, I see him fitting well into what you guys like to do. I'm just a dumb media guy. Do you guys see him fitting in well, obviously, what you guys can do, and how good can he be at the University of Iowa?
Yeah, he is a legacy guy. It was kind of cool for me just being a longtime Hawkeye guy. I met his dad in the office here last week, and Cooper got to see him play a little bit pickup game the other day with some of the guys, and shoot, you can tell right away just with his shooting ability that he's going to be a great fit with us. I think he definitely fills that role, and we're really excited to be able to keep him here.
What would your message to Iowa fans be? The ones that maybe, and you grew up an Iowa fan. I went there and that place was rocking. I love to see Carver rocking, and that wasn't the way it's been the last couple of years, especially this past season. Do you guys talk about that internally, and what would your message be, and how do you guys plan on trying to help get fans back into Carver Hawkeye Arena excited about Iowa basketball again?
I think just with the change that has been made, just a new face here and a new staff. I think there's some excitement that's been generated already. My message to the fans would be just come out and support this and give it some time to kind of see how it works out. I think when Coach got to Drake last year, it was kind of people weren't sure, wondering if we should buy into this, hey, are we going to get excited about it or not? And, and as we continue to win, and I really felt it after the Charleston Classic. We won 3 games out there in Charleston against, Miami, FAU, and then Vanderbilt in the championship game. And when we came back from that, you could really feel the excitement. The Knapp Center started to really fill up, throughout the course of the year. And I think it's, to give our guys the experience that they deserve and just get the fans behind them. Hopefully we can do that and generate that excitement, and and that will help play a big role in getting this thing going again. Kind of like I feel like when I would come to games here when I was in high school, this place was packed and it was rocking. So I kind of have that vision of what you have and what you remember, and hopefully we can get it back to that.
Last one for you, Coach. You look at the new world of building this roster. We've talked a lot about it, but is it like speed dating where you have to identify quickly and figure out if you want to have a relationship with this person and move on? I mean, have you gotten used to it? Because it's much different than the days earlier in your career where you were developing, a relationship over years and trying to court them to come and play for you. It's completely different. Have you gotten used to that? And is that a good analogy that people always talk about, being the speed dating thing where everything kind of happens quickly?
Yeah, I think it's a great analogy. It definitely is speed dating. Now, there's also the other wrench of it that's even changing it is, the agent in the middle of the speed dating. So, a lot of times there's conversations going on with the agent, and maybe you're not even allowed to build that much of a relationship with the kid as you would like to. And so it's definitely, it's definitely challenging. It's definitely what it is right now, but it's something that we're figuring out how to navigate. I think my experience in junior college has helped me, personally, to just be able to navigate this, because in junior college you get a lot of kids that they maybe dabble around with Division I interest all year, and then by July or August, when some of those things start to fizzle out, you have a pretty short, quick recruiting process with them, and they say, "Yep, I'm considering junior college now." So going through that as a junior college coach, an assistant and a head coach for 10 years, I think has given me some experience that I guess makes me a little more comfortable to kind of make some of those decisions in a shorter period of time. But I think it's definitely an adjustment for all of us at this level to figure out. So coach is still very, very deliberate in his decision making in those situations, and he's still gonna do his due diligence and his research on people, but you are going to have to make quick decisions. But I think kind of the philosophy is if you can take your time and make sure you're making the right decision, you may miss out on a kid or two here or there, but if you rush into a decision that ends up being a bad one, then you're stuck with that decision for a year or multiple years. And so I think just being deliberate with it and doing your due diligence is kind of the approach that coach has taken in the past.
Well, Josh, I know you're extremely busy, so for you to take the time to talk to some goofball that started a podcast in his loft, I appreciate you doing that. Josh Sash, assistant basketball coach at the University of Iowa. Have you gotten used to hearing that? That sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
It sounds pretty good. I think the first morning when I left early in the morning, I left Grimes, where my wife and I and our kids live, and I typed in Carver Hawkeye Arena and made the trip over. It was just, there was a lot of reflection, I think, on that trip, and just a lot of gratitude, really appreciative of coach for the opportunity here. And then just, it's been awesome. The people here have been great, just opening their arms and welcoming us. And so really, really excited about it.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you doing this. Iowa fans are excited. Get to work, get some players, get some victories, get some championships, all that good stuff. I appreciate you, Josh.
Hey, thanks for having me, Matt.
All right. That is Josh Sash, the assistant basketball coach at the University of Iowa. We got a lot more to get to. You're watching Off the Air on a Wednesday right here in the Quad Cities. All right. Be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist. When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves.
Quad Cities, it's time to bring the noise. Saturday night, April 12th, the Steamwheelers take on the Barnstormers in a hard-hitting Union Night showdown. We're honoring area Union members with a night of football action and ice-cold beers for only $1. Union members receive $5 off ticket thanks to Tri-City Building Trades Council and Union Locals 91, 25, and 145. Round up your crew and come cheer on the Wheelers. Get your tickets at steamwheelersfootball.com/tickets, and we'll see you on April 12th.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday in the Quad Cities. Wednesday, April 9th, we want to thank Josh Sash for joining us. That was a ton of fun. And basketball season, it's funny because it's done. March Madness is over, but it's going to be a topic of conversation for quite some time, especially with the transfer portal and all those good things. So, basketball is always prevalent. Baseball season's going. And I know football think fall for that, But right now, the best football team maybe in the entire league resides right here in the Quad Cities. And you saw that last commercial for the Quad City Steamwheelers. That guy doing the Stone Cold with the beer is joining me right now. Joe Krall, offensive lineman for the Quad City Steamwheelers, in the studio. Thank you for making the long trip out to the Milan area to join me. I appreciate it.
I enjoyed it. It's a great time. Beautiful studio. I love it.
Weird, right? Like you're like, it's funny because some people pull up and they're like, it's just his house. Like, it's not a studio. Yeah, the studio is upstairs. It's a ton of fun. So we got a lot to talk to you about. And before we talk about the fact that you guys are I almost didn't turn your microphone on. Caught myself. Before we talk about the fact that you guys are 3-0, we saw that commercial. And we saw the Stone Cold. And it's Dollar Beer Night this week.
Yep.
When did that all start?
So I started my rookie year in 22. I didn't know anything about like how the promotions worked, any of that stuff. I was just there to play football, right? And just keep it simple. And we saw dollar beers. And I looked at my coach, Coach West. I'm like, hey, hear me out. Would I get in trouble if I Stone Cold 2 beers? It's dollar beers. You got to go crazy with this. Not fun. And I'm like, am I going to get in trouble with the league? Any of this kind of stuff? West's like, if you get in trouble at all, I will be happy to pay your fine. So I'm like, we're doing it. We're getting after it. So like about maybe like the winding 30 seconds left of the game, we knew we won the game. I went over to the side, Hausman, all those guys, they had the beers, they gave it to me, and just went crazy with it. I think I have like a video of it somewhere, and I was so nervous. I'm like, let's go Steamwheeler Nation. I just did it, but like the more you do it, the better. You get after it with the guys and everything. So
I was gonna say, because rookie year is what, 3 years ago, 4 years ago?
Yeah, 22. Yeah,
22. So like, are you now a professional? And don't act like you've never done it before. You just never done it in front of all those people.
Right.
So now it's like, now you're pro. And I kind of talk about doing it now because it has become a cool tradition at the Quad City Steamwheelers home game.
Yeah, I always look forward to it. At the end, it gets the crowd involved. And that's the best part about arena football is that the crowd is right there on top of you. It's just loud. And if you get the fans involved, once you get the ninth man involved in that game, yeah, it's hard to lose at home when you get them involved with that. So doing those beer smashes, it brings all the fans out from Hausman and crew all the way down to my youngest fans. It's a good time.
No, that's absolutely awesome. This week is Dollar Beer. We're going to talk about that Union Night in a second, but I want to not get too far ahead of ourselves because Coach Ross was on last week, and he had never been 2-0 as the head coach of the Quad City Steamwheelers, and now you're 3-0. And I say that not in a bad way because it's a hard league, and they've been really good seasons. But this team, I feel under Coach Ross, you guys get better as the year goes. And I think you still will. But to be 3-0 and to have a fast start like this, your best start in years, what's it mean to this franchise, this team, this organization?
Since I've been here, we always want to try to just be 1-0 every single week, and we just keep stacking on that. I feel like this year, at least I can say in the offensive room when we have meetings with DeQuan Neal, with Rudd in the room, with me in the room, all the returning guys, even guys that have been in the league for a minute, there's some kind of good magic in the air. And when Ross isn't just telling us what plays are running this week, we actually can have a sit-down conversation like, hey, how are we going to do this? Yeah. How are we going to run the jet sweep here? How are we going to, what's our mesh routes going to look like? All that stuff. And what's the timing of the snap? Do we have to go silent count? It's just like all those small things, and you don't expect it. I mean, because it just builds a different atmosphere in the room where you have 8-9 guys in the same room that want to win, and just building off that, it's just truly beautiful to see happen.
Doug Bland was in here before the home opener, and he talked about a lot of new faces. But you mentioned a lot of guys that this area has, yourself and Rudd and those guys. Do you feel like it's been more important on your part to kind of be a leader and a guy who's been in the trenches before, literally, with the newer faces around with the team and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, if anything, this is my 4th season with the Steamwheelers, I wanted to at least do my part showing that what it means to be a wheeler on and off the field. I am a captain. I got nominated by my teammates. Truly high honor from those guys voting for me. And I just want to do my due diligence and let them know, like, hey, this is how we do things, how we operate, and be professional on and off the field. Pretty much so. You
go on the road, and that's you mentioned being at home and winning, and it's easier, obviously, to win at home, but it's never easy in this league. The last 2 weeks to go on the road and to get road wins, and especially in Des Moines at Iowa, a rival, if you will. What was that like? And obviously, you're not content because we're going to talk about the things you want to do better, but to get road victories in this league is hard, and you've got 2 of them already.
Yeah, we just got to keep stacking those road wins. It's better to do it at the beginning of the season when, it's the beginning of the game, first game jitters, guys are missing these plays here and there. But as the season goes on, everyone in the league, they start running a tight ship on how to execute these plays. So the easier it is to get them done. Sorry, my back myself up here. The easier you get them done at the beginning of the season, it sets yourself up for better success in the postseason.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You look at this team, and I think you played better on Saturday, and you can tell me, because a few weeks ago in Mass, you get a victory, but 3 turnovers and some things that you that's correctable and then that you can't correct. The turnovers weren't there on Saturday, but I think in the same breath, you saw some missed opportunities with an impressive road victory that are out there. This thing could even get better.
Right. Like I said, we just need to run a tighter ship, run a better execution of plays. I mean, I'll say I had a bad snap. I think it was literally the first or second play of our first drive. I was like, whoa, what? I've never done it before. Past 2 games. What are we doing here, guys? And running our mesh routes, Ross experimented with the guys that are competitive, that want to compete. Play mistake-free football because, that's part about being professional, right?
Yeah.
You got to show you can do this and be consistent with it every play. So I think we're still finding those out before we go into the bye week and leave it up to Coach Ross and company to figure out who our guys are and keep rolling from there.
That quarterback of yours, DeQuan Neal, and the fans got to see what he can do in the home opener, but he goes away for a couple weeks, and I know you sung his praises when you came into the house, but what's that guy like? What does he bring to the table? And that guy's got a lot of experience and has won a lot of games in this league.
He's a really, really cool guy. Like I said, just from being off the field, really even keel. He talks to you as a player. Like, he wants to win just as much as you want to. He's willing to get in the huddle and get to it. When he first came to camp, he wasn't shy. He didn't show up on a high horse or anything like that. He just one of the guys that fit just in. I really admired DeQuan showing up and just really wanting to work when he showed up.
How good is he? And that's a tougher question, but I'm watching on YouTube the game at Mass, and he put arm-wise, an arm skill, like he's putting balls into windows and scrambling, and you see the arm talent, and then he is elusive on his feet. How good is he?
Better than me, I know that. I just set the ball and look cute. That's all I do, and drink beer. That's all I do. So, seeing him truly play, it's a beautiful thing to watch, and it makes me excited to be able to play with him. It's a high honor. I think so.
You snap the ball and look cute.
That's
you
all
do
I try
both
to
of them
do.
correctly.
Yep.
Okay.
Most days, yeah. Ross may say something different, but hey, it's okay.
I love it. Joe Krall, offensive lineman with the Quad City Steamwheelers, the undefeated Steamwheelers, joining me right now. We'll finish with Des Moines and the game against Iowa with the good things, because it is a win and we're talking about the things you need to correct, but you can tell that each week you're stacking and getting better, in my opinion. And that's what Coach Ross teams, they're known for. Can you see that? Were there's things in Saturday's game that you're like, okay, we're getting there, we're starting to take steps in the right direction while winning football games, which is the beautiful part of it?
Yeah, what I can agree with Ross when he says this all the time is that we seem as an offense to start out slow. And towards the end of the Iowa game, I felt like we were firing all cylinders. We were scoring it within 3 to 4 plays maximum per drive towards the end of that game. And if we come out hot this week, doing the same thing, home field advantage, got the crowd, I don't see why we can't just put 70 on the board as an offense.
Yeah, no, and those, I think people think of arena football or indoor football and they think of those kind of numbers. And it's changed over the years. The numbers are there, the excitement is there, and good offenses are going to do that, but running game's more important, defense is more important, all those kind of things as well. You guys get back home, and we mentioned it, you get that rival for the second straight week. There's advantages to it. There's some disadvantages to it as well. Hard to beat a team twice back-to-back weeks. Kind of talk about some of the advantages of disadvantages of seeing the team that you just beat at their own place 4 days ago.
Right. It's nice to get a win at their place and then they have to come see us at our place. But at the same time, it's a quick turnaround. We want to say, like, hey, they're not going to make many quick adjustments, but at the same time, it's like, what adjustments can we make? We have a week to get this done and figure it out. But going from there, you just got to go out there and play. You really don't know the vibe of what they're doing until the first drive, at least in my eyes, in a sense. As an offensive lineman, I always get those nerves. Once you get that first pop of the pad, you're like, all right, we're doing this. Here we go. All right, let's play some ball.
I love it. I love it. What is, and you mentioned, because I watched some highlights on YouTube and Iowa, and I watched most of it in Mass, and you talk about the Quad Cities and the environment here, and you've known it for 3+ years now, but it's just different Like you watched it, and it's not the same. There's an electricity about that place. Talk about that because, and if people haven't been down to Wheelers game, like what are you waiting for? Because I promise if you go down and you're going to leave, and if you bring your kids and even yourselves, you're going to have fun. What is it about that crowd, that place? It sounds cheesy, cliche. I know all that kind of stuff, but it really is a huge home field advantage.
Yeah, it's a huge home field advantage. I like it because Quad City, it's not like your big towns like Boston or, Des Moines and Assam. Yeah, it's a very big town, but, not your Vegas Nighthawks or San Diego Strike Force or the Bay Area Panthers. It's a smaller, stronger community, I think. For me, I'm a small town kid. Grew up in New Berlin, Illinois. Those Friday night lights. I went to a D3 school, Monmouth College. The small town underdog vibes. I love that. And I think that's what QC is all about. Is like the small town underdog vibe. Blue collar guys that are just here to work and get after it. And seeing us succeed on the field reflects on our community around us, I believe.
This offense has a lot of skill weapons, and one guy that I think is taking a big step forward this year is Jordan Vesey. Kind of talk about his game, and then you add that with the pieces that you already have. I don't want to say it's an embarrassment of riches, but I feel like, hey, Coach Ross, I could probably call plays sometimes and score some touchdowns. So talk about his development and a local guy, a D3 guy, an Augustana guy making an impact.
Yeah, so when VC first came on, I was always talking to him a little bit because before Monmouth and Augie would always do like a pre-scrimmage every year, and they cut that out because we'd always get into fist fights during inside run. It's just camp. Towards the end of camp, you're 2 weeks fighting the same guys, and you get to go against new guys. You're going to start a fight. That's just how college football players, they just get a little rowdy and get after it. So I'd always tell them, roll Scots, what's up? What about the Vikings? And we kind of grew close a little bit in Mass. We were having talk about how we can get better. What are our routes? He's talking about his routes, how he prepares for the game, how I prepare for the game, and it's cool because he's a receiver and I'm a lineman. We are in two different worlds. I'm in a bar fight every play. He has to run around and catch a ball.
Yeah,
respectfully,
I love it.
But it's just cool seeing another local guy from the surrounding area that they went to school in this area at my age level. I guess I can relate to him, like kind of be like his older brother in a sense, like know his background in a sense, talk to him and see him develop as a player on and off the field. It's cool to see.
Union night this week, and I think that's really cool as well, and you get a great crowd with that. But I think it means a little bit to honor those guys and do those kind of things. Just kind of talk about Dollar Beer Night, Union Night. It should be a fun, special night on Saturday.
Yeah, Dollar Beer represent all union workers. Just like I said before, QC, and for my sake, a blue collar guy. Growing up, my dad used to work in a garage all the time. Used to work for the city of Springfield. My mom, she's a hardcore blue collar worker too. I think it means a lot to me too because dollar beers. Because you got the Stone Cold thing, but at the end of the day, for being a blue collar worker, who doesn't like a cold beer after a hard day's work?
Yeah.
So I think it just ties it all together with the dollar beers, bringing everyone out, bring the family out, and take a day off of hard work and enjoy good smash mouth football.
I know you guys kind of cut the season up into segments and stuff, or you can in a way. Mm-hmm. And this first quarter, this first segment is these first 4 games, and you get that bye week. To get there 4-0 and to kind of rest, relax, recharge, and kind of maybe reevaluate everything and all those kind of things, what would it mean for this team to go 4-0 and to get some big victories against some rivals along the way and get into that bye week with feeling pretty good at 4-0, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think it put us on a huge pedestal, put us in good confidence. Like Ross said yesterday at practice, we want to go in this bye week 4-0, or we don't want to sit and stew on a loss for a week before we can get back out there and play again. I think putting ourselves going in 4-0 really would set a good playoff picture up for us, even possibly get the motivation to get a home playoff game, which hasn't happened since the early 2000s, I believe.
Yeah, no, you think about it, was it your rookie year that they made the run of the championship game?
Yep.
And that was doing it all on the road, and that's hard, right? It was
Mm-hmm.
a special run, but can you feel those kind of, I know it's so early in the season, so I'm not comparing that to, but can you see this team can do what that team did? This team has the talent, the ability to play in a game like that, play in a championship like that, all those kind of things.
Absolutely, I can see. We our team has a lot of talent, all the accolades. You have DeQuan, you have Rudd, VC, all those, Keyshawn Moore, all IFL guys. At the end of the day, when we come to practice, no one cares about those accolades. And I think that's amazing because we play this game because we love it and we want to fight for the guy next to us. I think that's what the 22 group had, as they're a bunch of ragtag, like no one knows who we are, but hey, we're going to fight this out.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I love it.
And I love seeing that with the crew we got rolling with us now. The team chemistry's there. I like seeing it.
One more football question. I got some goofy questions for you. Coach Ross. I've gotten to know that guy over the last, I think 2017 he got to town, 2018. Sorry, Coach, if I got that wrong. But he's partaken in my dad's golf outing. Love seeing him on Wednesdays. Got to know him well. Just a good human being. Dude knows how to coach. Oh, yeah. He knows football. Kind of talk about him as somebody you've known now for going on 4 years, both on and off, because he knows his stuff football-wise. He's a really good human being as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, on the field, I look at Ross. I mean, he's my go-to guy. Last week I got on Sportsmanlike. He was chewing me out about it, but all due respect, I was like, I know I messed up. I'm sorry, Coach, because you got one of those heated moments of the game.
What'd you do?
I kind of did a little of an excessive block into the wall with the guy after the play, but
a little.
I was just finishing the block in my eyes. That's what I thought I was doing, but I got a little carried away with it, and looking back at it, I knew I messed up. But Coach, I mean, he coaches his little heart off, man. It was just always like I always laugh because when he gets all messed up, his hat comes off, his headset's wilding off, and just screaming. You can tell he's passionate of the game, and from him playing in the NFL, I have nothing but respect for him because he's been to the highest level of play. So when he comes and yells at us, you better listen because he's been there, and it says, you mess up one time, you're gone. And he always tells the stories of the crazy stuff he had to do when he was in the NFL. Yeah. Playing for the Ravens, when you had Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, all those guys playing. It's just, you just got to respect it.
It means more when you know the background and the people he's played with. It holds more weight, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Definitely holds a lot more weight. It's just, I feel like, you just want to stop and just stare and just be like, wow. This guy, he was a part of his NFL history.
Yeah.
With one of the greatest defensive players ever, defensive players out there.
Yeah.
It's just cool to kind of experience that.
All right. So you mentioned the Monmouth kid.
Yes.
Before we do some phone questions, talk about you dropped a Go Scots. What was that like? What were those 4 years like? And what does that place mean to you now?
Monmouth, I mean, it's my home away from home. I love that place. Really gave me a lot of opportunity with football, sports, long-lasting friends. Really, really cool because I didn't do too great on my testing from ACTs or anything like that. High school kid, I only cared about video games and working out, whatever. Yeah. Typical high school kid. Went and tried out for Monmouth. I got in and didn't look back. Got two-time All-American for track and field, All-American for football, many accolades with football. Yeah. It truly changed my life going to Monmouth.
Absolutely. No, it's Coach Braun does a fantastic job. I think that was your guy, but Coach Bell before that. Gosh, I go back to the Alex Taney years. I'm an old man, but no, it's a great school and great football program as well. That's for sure. All right, you're up here in the Quad Cities. When you and your big old offensive linemen, I love talking about food. I talk food about everybody that comes on. What's your place? What's where's if you want to, I don't want to say cheat because you're a big offensive lineman. You probably get to cheat more often than I do.
Yeah.
But where are those places that you need to hit up here in the Quad Cities when you're just hungry and you're craving and you got to go?
Man, so actually we're trying to get me and some of the other players are trying to get a little food group guys going. And we've been looking on Yelp and all some other places. One place that's a pretty good staple for us right now is Tony's Pizza.
Oh, downtown
Moline. Yeah, we saw that deep dish meat lovers were like, yo, what is this? Like $30 for what you get?
Yeah.
I almost had to take my shirt off in the restaurant. I was so full. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, whoa. That we found not a mac and cheese place, but it's like a grilled cheese place. I forgot the name.
Yeah, it's over by the TBK.
It looks pretty crazy. I might have to go check it out.
Okay, you haven't checked it out.
There,
Where do you have a Mexican place?
Mexican place. We did go to I almost said Portillo's, but Los Portales.
Okay, yeah.
Over there, we checked that out. There was
Portillo's is good too, though.
Cake shake, come on, what? But we're all just dabbling around. We've been here for a couple of weeks. Finally, since we're in season, we're able to get away from camp with the constant hurry up and wait how training camp goes. But we try to make it at least once a week to go around QC and see some good eats. And
I'll get your place when you leave. Abortes Carrillos. It's I'm probably messing up the name when it comes to, but it's in downtown Davenport. It's next to a Mexican grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best some of the best Mexican food you'll ever have. So hit that up, and then I'm gonna hook you up with Snoop's chips and salsa.
Yeah, I
You've
saw
seen
the
the
commercial
and all that
man,
kind of
it looks
stuff.
crazy.
I'm telling you, like I know he's watching. He'll probably text me this afternoon and say, "Hey, make sure you get Joe. We'll make sure that gets hooked up and everything."
Absolutely.
If you could have dinner, since we're talking about food, if you have dinner with one person, anywhere, any sports, non-sports, whatever, if you could have a meal with one person, who would it be and why?
Man, who would it be and why?
See, this ain't no
That's
easy.
tough.
That's no
tough.
easy show,
I can't
right?
I can't just.
I love
throw
how I
one
asked
out
you all
there.
these harder questions and like you nailed them, and then I asked you about who you want to have dinner with, and you're like,
Man,
it can be sports, it can be football, it can be.
oh, I'd probably sit down with John Randall from the Vikings.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, watching him.
Is
like,
that your dude growing up?
I mean, just seeing him play and all the trash talk he does, I love it. Like,
Yeah. Are you a Vikings fan?
I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan.
I'm
I know. I saw it already. I kept my
Yeah.
mouth shut. Hey,
Dan will give you the skid stare. As
hey, you guys actually, from what you've been through, I respect it.
You'd like to play. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You'd play for this guy, wouldn't you? Dan Campbell.
Seems pretty cool. Yeah.
I mean, he seems like your type of guy.
Yeah.
If you, and I'm going to take track and field out of it too,
Okay.
because you mentioned that, so it's too easy. But if you couldn't do football, you can do track and field. You had to do a different sport. What sport would you be doing and why? Did you play baseball growing up? Did you play basketball? Did you play?
Funny, I tried doing baseball, but then I saw a kid get smoked with a pitching machine. I'm like, yeah, this ain't for me. I'm good. I'd play sport with kids.
I like how you don't want to get hit by a pitch, but you'll just go smash big dudes over and over again. That's much safer.
Bigger surface area than a baseball at your face. I'm like, oh, no way.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I get you.
But man, can I already just be good at the sport?
Yeah, you just.
All right. I'd probably do golf. Honestly, now looking back at it, I went
Do
golfing.
you do golf?
I tried a little bit, but I'm more of like a Caddyshack kind of golfer. Just kind of do my
to
thing.
have fun?
What's that?
Just out there to have a little fun.
Have a little fun, bring a cooler, a couple cigars,
So I need that, and I'm going to bug Corey about it, but I do a golf outing for my dad, a memorial golf outing. It's year 11, and Corey's been out there. It's usually, I got to look on their schedule, because usually if you're in town, you're there. If you're not in town, then obviously you're not there. So, but Corey's been out there and do it. We got to get you out there. Now, when you go, and that's what it is. You can be good, or it's best ball, and it's more of a party sometimes than it is a golf outing. It's a lot of fun. But when you have golfed, have you ever hit it good?
Driver, no, but
Okay.
like with the irons, I'm pretty decent.
I was gonna say, like, have you ever driven? Like, what's your farthest drive?
I have no idea. I just crank it.
Okay, you hit it good.
Yeah, ish. Yeah.
You have to. You're a big dude.
Yeah, but say at Hidden Hills, I mean, we're over there, and I just say everyone on I-80, just watch out. That's all I gotta say. So
You're coming for it. I love it. Before we let you go, this week, kind of give people that haven't been to a Wheelers game, and like I said, shame on you if you haven't been to a Wheelers game, but give them the pitch to get out and why this team and that night is going to be a ton of fun.
yeah, a ton of fun. You get to see professional athletes coming from D1 schools all the way from D3 schools, guys that they worked hard to play for this. Dollar beers for the adult crowd that wants to come out there. I don't want to say about possibly seltzers too. I don't know for sure, but definitely dollar beers.
If not, Joe's buying people seltzers.
Possibly, we'll
No.
see. Meet us at Pub 1848 post after party. But definitely, it's just a great environment for the kids. I mean, because the walls are right there, the crowd is loud. It's football. I mean, who doesn't like football?
The dangerous thing back when I was covering it was like we stand right off those walls. And like, especially in the end zone, and you know what it's like. I mean, I don't think I got bumped a few times. I got close a few times. Corey Cuffler got lit up one time. Like, I mean, they come right at you and they don't care. So, I mean, that's the thing. You're right on top of the action. I know Iowa fans, if you've ever been up to an Iowa football game, the cool part about Kinnick Stadium is the fans are real close. It's like the bench, and then there's like about that much narrow space, and then the fans. It's even closer in arena football or IFL football, and that's something people need to go check out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you guys get guys jumping over the wall for the ball. Guys, you might see me push somebody into the boards. It's kind of hockey
over and over again.
Exactly. Marshawn Lynch. Right?
I keep on telling you last one, but I keep on coming up with stuff. Now, is it? There's no love lost between the two teams already, and then you just beat each other up last week for an entire evening. Like, does it get to a point where? I mean, the guy that you did that to last week does he remember that, and is he cranky this week? Playing back to back probably keeps emotions higher. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, for me, I just treat it as a game. Just got to be professional about it. But some of those guys, when you go out there and play, you can just look at their eyes and be like, yeah, he's still a little.
Do you trash talk
on live camera? No, not at all. Not at all. Never.
All right, well, we're going to hit a commercial break so he can tell me everything that he does say. No, I do appreciate you coming out here. You got to come back again. And I got to give me a bigger heads up when it's you next time. I got to do it for everybody, but I'm going to start getting some chips and salsa. Hobo is a great sponsor. Godfather's is a great sponsor. I got to get some food out here. But you're going to the media thing right after this and eating, aren't you?
I don't think I'll be there.
Oh, okay.
Kegel, a couple other guys are going to be there. Quan, I want to say. I don't know for sure. I didn't hear my name on the list. So I'm like,
you don't get to sneak by and have any food?
I don't think so. I might stop by.
The Wheelers do it right because like they do their for home games. They have a media luncheon that like. And the media will cover the heck out of anything if you feed us. So, so like if you give us some food, we'll be there. So hey, I appreciate you stopping by. We'll do this again. Keep winning games. I'm doing my part by having this relationship. You don't lose with off the air with Matt Randazzo. So don't be losing. Keep it undefeated. So
do my best.
Good luck. Stay healthy.
Absolutely appreciate it.
All right, we got a lot more to get to coming up after the break. We talked about golf a little bit. The Masters is less than 24 hours away. My good friend Bobby Metcalf, former sports writer here in the Quad Cities, is going to join us to talk about the Masters, give some predictions, maybe a few bets along the way as we rock our way through a Wednesday edition of Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We'll be back right after this. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist. When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop. at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves.
Quad Cities, it's time to bring the noise. Saturday night, April 12th, the Steamwheelers take on the Barnstormers in a hard-hitting Union Night showdown. We're honoring area Union members with a night of football action and ice-cold beers for only $1. Union members receive $5 off ticket thanks to Tri-City Building Trades Council and Union Locals 91, 25, and 145. Round up your crew and come cheer on the Wheelers. Get your tickets at steamwheelersfootball.com/tickets, and we'll see you on April 12th.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. That Steamwheelers commercial gets me all fired up. How much fun was that? Joe Krall in studio, offensive lineman for the Wheelers. Wheelers now 3-0 on the season. So a lot of fun. He's got me hungry because we start talking about food. I get a little hungry here on a Wednesday. If you're just joining us, Josh Sash, the newest Iowa assistant basketball coach, also the older brother of Tyler Sash, was on the show to start things off. So if you missed that interview, go check it out. And also, kind of happening as the show's going on, it sounds like Iowa does have their final assistant coaching job filled. According to the website, Luke Barnwell officially added to the staff. Everything I read, a home run hire. He was on staff at Texas Tech the last couple of years. He makes the move to Iowa City to join Ben McCollum and company. So very cool for that as well. So we've gotten basketball taken care of, football taken care of. Let's talk a little bit of golf because it's that time of year. The Masters is less than 24 hours away, and my buddy Bobby Metcalf, former sports writer here in the Quad Cities, a producer at WQAD, and a good friend of mine. Do you like it when I say you're a good friend of mine? I don't know if you like the association, Bobby.
Well, then I can say hello, friends, and get away with it.
There you go. I didn't want to make sure we're acquaintances, just acquaintances. It is a fun week. Masters week is here. You covered a lot of golf. You continue to cover golf. You were with us. You were with me last year out at the John Deere Classic, but you covered it as a sports writer. I love John Deere Classic week. It's my favorite week of the year when it comes to golf. But after that, like the Masters is it. And I feel like people don't start paying that much attention or enough attention to golf until this week. And that's when people kind of start locking into golf and what's going on. What's this week like for you? And do you agree that Masters week is just something special, something different?
This is a fun week. There is something special about Masters week. I'm partial to Open Championship week because you can wake up at 3 a.m. and roll out of bed and turn golf on. And it's a totally different style of play over there. But yeah, when you get to see the Augusta and the azaleas and just how beautiful the course is, it's like spring's finally here. We've been kind of muddling through 30-degree weather, 40-degree weather, and I know it's not Georgia, but it just feels like the start of spring finally when the Masters hits.
You're right, because the Open, I remember having kids and I still have kids, so I shouldn't say remember when I had kids, but when they were young, I would get up and I would always change diapers on Thursday and Friday and take care of the kids when they were up during the night, the babies. And my wife one year thought I was so great. She's like, all that. And then it was the next Friday. I was like, I got it. I got it. And then she came out to the living room and I was rocking Charlie, I think, watching golf. And she's like, is this a replay? I'm like, no, it's live. And she's like, well, that's why you're up. You're not being a good dad or a husband. You just want to watch golf. And I said, well, guilty as charged. So going into the Masters this year, I think I want to start. We're going to go through our, favorites, so who's going to win. We're going to go through our first round leader. We're going to go through our sleeper, and then there's 9, I think Craig said 9 John Deere Classic former champions in the field. And we're going to talk about which one does the best this week. But before we do those things, if I told you had Scotty or the field, which one would you put your hard-earned money on?
The field.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's the field. It's Scotty, so it's hard to bet against him, defending champ, but just kind of hasn't played great. Obviously played really well last week. I don't know. This field's just always so great, and it's really hard to win back-to-back at Augusta. I would always go the field over Scotty.
Well, and that's the thing too. It's not a negative towards Scotty because I think he is playing better, and he's talking about how he feels really good, and he's really good. But I think it's to the feel, like just the fact that you have Rory, you have Kamarakawa that's playing really well and ready to break through, and John Rahm, who we don't get to see very much anymore unless you're watching live, and you can go on and on about the other. I'll take the other guys if I have to over that. So let's start with this year's Masters who's gonna win it. Obviously, odds-on favorite is Scotty, but there's Rory. We mentioned them as you go down the line. If you had to put your hard-earned money on somebody, who's your pick to win this year's Masters?
If I had my hard-earned money, and it actually would be my heart-earned money because I bet on Rory. I want to see that guy get it done. You feel like at some point it's going to come, right? I mean, The guy's it seems like he's in every major. It seems like he has one round that kills him, and it tends to be like his first round. And you're like, oh man, Rory's going to miss the cut. And then he battles back, and all of a sudden, on Saturday, he's hanging around, the top 10 and makes a charge on Sunday, and he just falls a little bit short, it seems like, or he's leading and then he misses some putts like he did last year at Pinehurst. It just seems like, man, he's just so close. And I have to bet on Rory. I really think he's so close, and I really want him to get it done, complete that Grand Slam.
It's hard for me, Bobby, because I texted our friend Celia Palermo, who is my golf guru, and she loves Morikawa. Really likes him this year, the way he's playing. He's ready to break through, all those kind of things, and that makes sense. I just didn't want to steal hers because if she does watch the show, I don't want her to get mad at me for stealing it. And I went back and forth between Ludwig and John Rahm. And we don't get to see John Rahm. And that's the disappointing thing, because I think if I could take one guy off that live and bring him back, I think it would have been John Rahm. I think we saw him in the Quad Cities. I remember me and Wheezy are out there on the practice rounds, and he's sitting there, and he was great enough to come over and do an interview on Monday. And Wheezy's like, and I kind of knew who he was, but Wheezy's like, we'll never see him again. He's really, really good. And he is. And so him or Ludwig, obviously finishing second last year in his first Masters. So I'm going to go Ludwig just because I think that's who I'm going to try to key on when it comes to my Masters pool that I'm in later this week. We got a draft tonight. But I'm going to go Ludwig as well. But there's a lot. That's why you can't take Scotty. You have to take the field, because you can sit here and ramble off guys that you can really, really can win this thing. And that's what makes the next 4 days really, really fun.
Yeah, I'm not a live guy, and it really hurt when Rahm left. But Rahm is like the one guy on live that I would be fine to see win another major. I love his game. I won't get into live stuff. It was just really unfortunate seeing him jump over there, and I miss seeing his game because it was so great when he'd go toe to toe with Scotty and some of the other big names. But yeah, I mean, I love John Rahm. I think he's got a good chance too. I can't. My heart won't let me go against anybody but Rory. I want to see him win every time he steps on the course.
I totally get it. Bob Metcalf joining us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Round one, I mean, it's obvious to say like, hey, he's going to go play well. Scotty's going to go play. Rory's going to play well. If you want to win this thing, it's important. As our friend Zach Johnson says, you can't win a golf outing on a tournament on a Thursday, but you sure can lose it. So the start's important. Who leads this thing after Thursday?
I'm going to say Tommy Fleetwood.
I love the name. I really, gosh, if I just trusted him in the end, he's right there as a sleepy good pick.
Yeah. He's like, he always seems to be there right at the start, and he seems like he starts every major great, and then the Sunday hits and he has or Saturday hits and he has a bad Saturday. He seems again a one bad round guy, but I think his game is so good for Augusta. I think if I were to pick of all these guys, I mean, Fleetwood really stands out to me as a guy who I could see be leading after day one.
No, absolutely. I'm going to go with Sergio Garcia. Reading up a bunch on him, and he's one of those guys that's playing well right now. He's on the live, and he's playing really, really well. And I have he always plays well at the Masters. He always plays well at Augusta, at least a round or two. Sergio's that guy that I just feel like might have a good first round. And I wanted to do somebody obscure. I didn't want to do like, hey, Scotty's going to be winning after round 1. So I'm going to go Sergio. Give me a guy that's a sleeper pick and I don't know how sleeper you have to get, but give me a sleeper pick when it comes to maybe not one of those top 10 or 12 guys that are going to win this thing on Sunday.
So do I have to throw out a guy that nobody's ever heard of, or?
Well, no. Like my guy's Cam Smith, and I keep on picking live guys, which is probably annoying to you, but just somebody that's not favored to win it, but has won at the highest level, been playing better lately. Just somebody along those lines is who I have.
I would say a guy like Justin Rose. He's obviously a huge name in golf, but you kind of look, he's another guy. He just seems like he's always there on Sunday in big tournaments. He finished 3rd at Pebble Beach earlier this year. He had another top 10, I think, last month. He's played that course really well. I think he's finished 2nd twice. So that's a guy who I think is probably, obviously it's a name. I don't want to say that's why I asked you about sleeper picks. Cause again, I can throw out like Akshay Bhatia, who maybe nobody really knows who that is, but if I look at the field, I think Justin Rose is a guy who I would say, a lot of guys may not be picking, but I could see him there right on Sunday, right at the end, coming down to the wire with one of the big names.
Akshay is a good pick too. Like it doesn't have just not one of the big favorites. It doesn't have to go down to the bottom. And like if Celia was on here, she'd pick Michael Kim because she loves him. And Michael Kim's playing a lot better golf right now. He's just not going to win the Masters, but he's playing a lot better golf right now. Those John Deere, those JDC guys, and Jordan, Bryson. Sepp, there's a lot of them. There's 9 of them. Davis Thompson's in there as well. When it comes to like those guys, who finishes the best out of our John Deere Classic representation when it comes to former champions?
It's got to be Sepp, right? He's played so well. Really, this year, the last couple of years, he's played well. I think he's never missed a cut at Augusta. He won earlier this year. He's playing such good golf, and he's again another guy that I remember when he came in for a couple of years, and you're like Sepp Straka, and then he wins, and you're kind of like, huh, and then he kind of just kept sort of being around leaderboards, and in some big tournaments, and it just kind of like this guy's kind of under the radar guy who everyone has heard of, but you don't think of as this big time golfer. But you look at what he's done, and he's just steady, and that's what you have to be. Adam in a major at Augusta is just a steady golfer. I think a lot of people would say, "Oh, Bryson's a great pick," but I don't think Bryson's game. I know he's had some good rounds in Augusta. I just don't think his game sets up for him to play that way for 4 rounds. But so I would pick Sepp over Bryson at this point.
No, it's funny because I'm right there with you. I got 2, which is cheating. But I didn't pick Bryson, and I love Jordan Spieth. The dude's right behind me on the picture. Like, I'm a big Jordan Spieth fan, and I'm not there. And he always plays well at the Masters, so he can play well and he can do well. All of those guys, but going on a Polar Pop run with our buddy Scott Weiss yesterday, he mentioned that at Augusta, it's really important how you're swinging it from 150 to 170 out. And on tour, the best guy on tour from that distance is Sepp Straka. And it's just, he seems like that safe guy. Might not win the whole thing, but I think his floor is a lot higher than everybody else's, and his ceiling can pretty good as well. So I like Sepp. And also, I do think Davis Thompson's going to win a major. Like, he's going to eventually, I'm not saying now, he's not ready now, but he's a Georgia kid that is really talented. So I think he plays well this weekend as well. I'm not saying he's going to win it, but I mean, he could be that John Deere Classic guy that makes a run and plays well and all that kind of stuff as well. So if you go Sepp, I will go Davis Thompson.
If Davis Thompson wins a major, does he smile?
Here's the problem is I don't know how much you get out of him afterwards. Like, and all the stuff going into next year. It's like, what's your meal? And he'll be like, mac and cheese. Or something, he's just and I'm saying that jokingly, but he's a really quiet guy. And like I get to chat with the champion first, or I don't get to anymore. But I get at WQAD, and like usually I get a question in and they ramble, and then everybody else was joined. He was so short that like I was putting bites together to make it breathe a little bit and all that kind of stuff. But not the most talkative guy. But Bobby's a really good golfer. He grew up around it. He a Georgia kid, comfortable there, all those kind of things. I think he golfs well. I'm not saying he's winning the Masters, but I think he golfs well. Before we let you go, is this is just going to be a fun weekend? I don't see anybody running and hiding. Do you? Like, I think Sunday we go into Sunday with a fun story to tell. Do you agree with that?
I don't think anybody runs and hides until maybe Sunday. That's the problem. I haven't researched, but it just seems like majors in the last 4 or 5 years, you've only had a couple go down to the wire.
Yeah.
It seems like every time, Scotty pulls away on Sunday, or somebody falls apart on Sunday. You had the Bryson win over Rory, which was interesting. But it just doesn't feel like we have had a dramatic major finish, like really that many recently.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I would love to see it come down to the wire. I'd love to see it come down to 2 guys on 18, or you get a guy in it 16 under and is waiting around to see if somebody can get there. I'd love to see some drama, because man, it seems like recently it's been over by hole 15, 16.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to run away in the first 3 days. I just hope nobody runs away on Sunday.
No, I would agree, and that you're right. It does, and you love it. You love it on a Sunday to be done with youth baseball and get home in time to watch those last 2-3 hours of a great major. Hopefully, it is that way this year. Bobby, how much do you miss me?
Every day.
That's a lie. Don't stop things with the lies. So, Bobby, I appreciate you doing this because I wanted to talk some Masters and nobody wanted to just listen to me ramble. So, love your thoughts. Be well. We'll talk to you soon.
Yep. Thanks.
All right, Bobby Metcalf chatting a little Masters. Man, it's a super fun time of year. And I mentioned I'm going to I'm in this Masters pool tonight. 12 rounds. 7 players. 12 of us, snake draft, and I'm drafting 8th, and I'm trying to figure out who's gone, who's going to be there. Don't want to give anything away in case any of those knuckleheads are watching, but I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So the Masters starting tomorrow. We'll talk with Andrew Lehman in studio tomorrow. I figured if the Masters is teeing off and getting rolling, there's no better dude to have in studio than Andrew Lehman, the tournament director of the John Deere Classic. So that is coming your way tomorrow. We got one more quick timeout, and then we'll wrap up today's Off the Air with Matt Randazzo right after this. When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak, with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday in the Quad Cities. Wednesday, April 9th. I think I said 8th earlier. Wednesday, April 9th is the day. Thank you guys for joining us. It's been a fun show. Really fun to have Josh Sash joining us in hour number one. Of course, new men's basketball coach, assistant basketball coach at the University of Iowa. Also, older brother to Tyler Sash. So enjoyed chatting with him about what it meant to be a Hawkeye once again. If you missed that, go back and check it out. Well worth your 30 minutes of time to go check that out. Also, it is Steamwheeler Wednesday, brought to you by XUSD. It was great to have Joe Krall in studio. He got me hungry. He was funny. It was a lot of fun. Those big offensive linemen know how to have a good time. So if you are out and about this weekend, get down to the Wheelers. There's 3-0. They host Iowa coming up this weekend. It's Union night. It's dollar beer night. So get out there, enjoy some great football down at the Vibrant Arena. And also the Masters less than 24 hours away. Bobby Metcalf and I just gave our picks for who we think might be winning the Masters and first round leader and all that kind of fun stuff. So if you want to go back and listen and make some bets and lose some money, go listen to that. On Monday, we had Jess Settles, Joey Van Wetzinga, and Pat Angerer. On Tuesday, it was Craig DeVries, Dave Heller, the owner of the Quad Cities River Bandits, and Mark Nessler, the first winner of the inaugural Off the Air with Matt Randazzo Bracket Challenge. So go check those out as well. Tomorrow, as I mentioned, the Masters will be underway and in full swing. And Andrew Lehman from the John Deere Classic will be joining me in studio. I got to warm up the studio. He got cranky because it was cold last time. So hopefully it doesn't snow either, because last time he came out it was snowing. And you would have thought it was the end of the world because we got an inch of snow. So Andrew Lehman and a lot more tomorrow as we rock and roll through another week right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. And of course, as always, we want to thank our fantastic sponsors for allowing me to do this show each and every day. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo.